All right, 2 Kings chapter 3. I want to read just verse 17 and 18. 17 and 18. 17 says, "For thus saith the Lord," I'm reading out the King James, "you shall not see wind, neither shall you see rain, yet this valley is going to be filled with water. You're going to have something to drink. You're going to have something, your cattle's going to have something, and every animal's with you. And this is but a light thing in the sight of the Lord, and he's going to deliver the Moabites also into your hands." And real quick today, I want to talk about we can all thrive in 2025. We can all thrive in 2025. Listen, 2 Kings chapter number 3. Let's just get this on out the way. 2 Kings chapter number 3 is literally one of the most exciting reads in all the Bible. Let's just get that on out the way. And I encourage you to read it when you get a chance. It's a short chapter. It's made up of 27 verses. And in a nutshell, it's a story about some kings doing battle against each other. That's what 2 Kings chapter 3 is all about. Some kings doing battle against each other. And to give more specific, Mark, is 3 kings teaming up against one. 3 kings teaming up against one. There's the king of Israel, whose name is Joram. There's the king of Judah, whose name is Jehoshaphat. Israel and Judah, they represent the Jews. They represent God's people, but they had 2 different kings at this time. Joram was the king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was the king of Judah. And then there's the king of a place called Edom. His name is not mentioned. His name is not mentioned. And these 3 kings team up together, and they're fighting against a king called Mesha of Moab. So it's the king of Israel, the king of Judah, and the king of Edom, and they jumping on the Moabites. And when you read it, guess what? Guess what the battle was all about? Money. Money. Do you think folks still fight today over money? And down through the years, there have been all kind of songs about money and what money will do. OJ's had the song, "For the Love of Money." People will steal from their mother. For the love of money, people will rob their own brother. Jamie Foxx and Kanye had a song about money. I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with her. Come on now. Give me money when I'm in need. Come on. About money, y'all, about money. Rihanna had a song about money. Rihanna had a song said, "Girl, you better give me my money." Now that's the church version. "Girl, you better," come on, tell somebody that's the church version. "Girl, you better give me." And that's what this is about, y'all. This is about Joram is the king of Israel. Joram's father and mother are the 2 most wickedest people in the Old Testament. Joram's father's name was Ahab, and his mother's name was Jezebel. They are the Bonnie and Clyde of the Bible. They're the most wickedest people. And Joram was wicked, but he wasn't as wicked as his dad. Ahab is the most wickedest king. And Joram, the son, he's wicked, but he's not as wicked as his dad. Anytime I think about siblings or think about family members being wicked, I'm often reminded of the 2 brothers who were very corrupt, and one of them died. And when one of them died, the one who was alive went to the church and told the pastor, "I want my brother's funeral here. And during the funeral, I want you to say that my brother was a good man. But he was wicked. He was corrupt. He wasn't a good man." And the brother that was alive told the pastor, "I want you to say during the funeral at some point that my brother was a good man." And he says, "If you do, I'll pay off your church mortgage." He said, "Y'all owe about $1.5 million over your church." He says, "And all you got to do is say my brother was a good man." And the pastor was torn because it was a matter of integrity. And the pastor was saying, how can I say he was a good man and he really wasn't? And everybody knew it. So he didn't know what to do. He did not know what to do. And the funeral came. And the brother that's alive is sitting there with the bag. And he's waiting to give it to the pastor if the pastor says that his brother in the grave was a good man. And the pastor says this. He says, you see that guy sitting right over there? The guy sitting over there alive, you see the brother? He's wicked. He's corrupt. He's dangerous. He's good for nothing. He said, but if you match him up with his brother in the grave, he's a good man. Tell somebody on your road, the Lord will always give you a plan. The Lord will... Yes. So Joram is upset. Here's what the battle was over. Joram is upset because the king of the Moabites, Mesha, used to pay Ahab money so that Ahab wouldn't jump on him. And every year he would give him so much money just so Ahab wouldn't jump on him. And then Ahab died. And when Ahab died, the king from Moab sent Joram a text and said, I ain't scared of you. I was scared of your dad, but I ain't scared of you. So from here on out, I ain't paying you no more money. And Joram texts him back and say, don't have my money here by Friday and see. Don't have my money here by Friday and see what happened. And the money wasn't there. The money wasn't there. Joram then grabs Jehoshaphat, who's a godly king, and says, I need you to help me to fight against this guy who don't pay me money. Then he grabs the king from Edom, and he says, I want you to help me too. And I wish I had more time to talk about, be careful of getting in battles that you ain't got nothing to do with. This was between Joram and the Moabites. And Jehoshaphat teamed up with him. And they grabbed the king of Edom. And they traveled 7 days to Moabite country, to jump on the people of Moab. I just kind of want to walk you through. I want to walk you through. Now look on your outline. I've given you the breakdown. This year I'm going to do something new. I'm going to give you the breakdown this year. You don't have to write it down. I'm going to give it to you, hoping that it'll save time during the preaching moment. Can't guarantee you it will, but I'm just going to try something a little different this year. So we got a lot of changes going on this year, a lot of changes. And can I tell you what I've discovered about church people? Can I tell you what I've discovered about adults? Many times the only people who embrace change is a baby with a wet diaper. Almost everybody else got struggles with change. Will you tell your whole row, we changing this year? We changing. All right, so here's what's going on in this chapter. And my moments are just about up. They're in a desert, y'all. They're in a desert. In order for these three kings to get to the people of Moab, they go by way of the desert. And what do you know about a desert? What do you know about, how would you define a desert? It's dry, good. What else would you say about a desert? It's hot. And would you say it's remote? Okay, so let's just stay right there. A desert is a dry place, a desert is a hot place, and a desert is a remote place. And I want you to know in the year 2025, God's going to take you through some deserts. In the year 2025, get ready to deal with some dry stuff, get ready to deal with some hot stuff, and get ready to deal with some remote stuff. And let me give you what takes place in this desert. All right, look at the breakdown. The predicament in the desert, verses 1 through 9. The predicament in the desert. Predicament is another word for problem. And guess what the problem they face? Read it when you get a chance. They run out of water. Now you said, and I just agreed with you, you said the desert is a hot place, you said the desert is a dry place, you said the desert is a remote place, and they run out of water. I wish I had time to talk about when you in a desert, you don't need Wi-Fi. But you do need water. When you are in a desert, you don't need a beautician, but you need water. And that's their predicament. Here's number 2, the prophet in the desert. The prophet in the desert. Verses 10 through 19. God sees to it that the prophet Elijah is there to guide them. Now the predicament is they don't have no water. But God sees to it that there's a man of God, a prophet, Cleveland, there to guide them. Here's what God is saying to you and I. For every predicament you get in this year, God will see to it that there's a man or woman of God nearby to help you handle your situation. You're going to deal with some predicaments, but in your predicament, look for the prophet or the prophetess that God set up to help you get through. The predicament is what? They don't have water. The prophet Elisha is there, and they go to Elisha and ask Elijah what to do. They ask Elijah what to do. I wish I had more time, because Joram is wicked. Jehoshaphat is godly. And when Joram sees Elijah, he says, I don't care much for him. I don't care much for him, but we need his guidance. We need his guidance. And Joram says this, what shall we do, Elijah? And Elijah said this, why don't you call on your wicked daddy? He says, why don't you call on your wicked mama? Why are you calling on me now? You didn't have time for me before. See, there comes a time when God says to you and I, stop treating me like a spare tire. Where do we keep a spare tire? Where do we keep a spare tire? In the trunk, and we only pull it out, what? When we have a flat. And how many times have you and I put God in the trunk, and as soon as something went wrong, we want to pull him out and then put him on the car? And then as soon as we get to where we going, guess what we do with that spare tire? We take it and put it back. And Jehoshaphat said, I shouldn't help you. But read it. First lady, read when you get a chance. Elisha says this, I shouldn't help you, but then he says this, I love it here. He says, if you wasn't connected to Jehoshaphat, I wouldn't help you. He says, I'm going to help you, not because of you, but I'm going to help you because of who you connected to. And 2025 is not the year to be connected to devils. See, you need to know that sometimes you get a blessing not because of you, but because of who you are connected to. And that's why you got to let your children know you can't just go out here and live any old kind of way, because your mama is anointed, your daddy is anointed, your grandmother knows God. And when you leave this house, you represent us. He says, I'm going to help you, but I'm going to help you because of Jehoshaphat. And guess what Joram says when he says that? Thank you. See, you got to know when to not try to be all big and bad and say, oh, you ain't got to help. Thank you. Tell people around you, whatever you decide to do for me this year, thank you. He says, I'm going to help you. And then you see the last one? See the last one there, Tammy? It says the provisions in the desert. You know what? God makes a way. God makes a way. And you know what God is saying just through the breakdown? For every predicament you go through, I'm going to see to it that a prophet is near you and watch me provide a way out of no way. Am I helping anybody already this year? For every predicament you go through, there's going to be a prophet, a prophetess that can guide you and watch me provide. Because what do they need? What do they need? Are you paying attention? Come on, what do they need? They need water. Because where are they? All right, grab your outline. Do me a favor, because some of you need to hear the end of the story before, so you'll know when to shout. Put up verse 20. You need the end of the story. Let me hear the end of the story. Now, what do they need? What do they need? Put up verse 20. Put up verse 20, and I'll give you these answers, and we done. Put up verse 20. It says, and it came to pass in the morning when the meat offering was offered, that behold, there came water by the way of Edom, and the country was filled with water. Does the microphone truck travel all the way over there? Just y'all over there. What do they need? And verse 20 said, God filled the country with water. I decree and declare everything you need this year, God's gonna do it. Every bill that needs to be paid, God's gonna do it. Every healing that needs to take place, every job you need to get, every child you need to raise, every situation you go through, God's gonna do it. All right, let me give you how he did it. You already know the end of the story, because I don't want you sitting there every time and say, that one, did he do it? Did he do it? Did he do it? All right, let me give you these answers. Number one, a revelation from the Lord will help you thrive in the year 2025. Revelation from the Lord. Know what that means? You got to hear from God. You got to hear from God. Number two, exertion for the Lord. Exertion for the Lord. Exertion for the Lord. That means you're going to have to work with God. Will help you thrive in 2025. Exertion for the Lord. You got to hear from them, but then you got to work with them. You got to work with them. You got to help them. You got to work with them. Anybody ever been dealing with somebody and you want to tell them, work with me, work with me, work with me? Come on, I say it every Sunday when I'm preaching. Work with me, please. Work with me. Work with me, okay? And then here's number three. Anticipation regarding the Lord will help you thrive. Will help you thrive. Will help you thrive in the year 2025. Now, they go to Elijah. Remember, they go to Elijah and they say, what should we do? Look what Elijah says in verse 16. Bring me a musician. Bring me a musician. Some of you have a modern translation. He says, bring me somebody to play the harp. Now, they need water, and he talking about a musician. How many of y'all would have cussed him out right there? And you still would be without water. Come on. He says, bring me a musician. Bring me a musician. Watch this. And as the musician played, God began to move. Don't y'all miss this. As the musician played, God began to move. At some point, we need to let all Christian musicians know that your job is to prepare people for the word and not try to be the word. Y'all know I ain't scared of y'all. I'll sit every last one of y'all down and bring you back in 5 minutes. Because I can't sing. Come on. I was just playing y'all good, y'all. As the musician played, God began to speak. Where do you see where God began to speak? Because what does it say? Thus said the Lord. Revelation, revelation. And here's my point. Here's my point, Kathy. Here's my point, Gail. This year, we all got to prioritize hearing from God. And just because I'm on social media don't mean I'm hearing from God. Just because I'm binge watching don't mean I'm hearing from God. Just because I'm listening to Nephew Tommy prank somebody don't mean I'm hearing from God. And let me give you 4 ways God speaks to you. You ready for this? I'm going to give you 4 ways God speaks to you. Number 1, through his scriptures. That's why you need to be a part of this reading plan with us every day. Because when you read the word, Abraham, God is speaking to you. When you pray, you're talking to God. But when you read the word, God is speaking to you. Number 1, God speaks to you through his scriptures. Number 2, God speaks to you through his spirit. His spirit. His spirit speaks to your spirit. His spirit. Now, many Christians don't recognize this one because they're not familiar with it, but it happens, and because you're not familiar with it, we find ourselves saying things like this. Something told me. Come on, where my real people there? Something told me don't marry him. I didn't listen, but something told me don't go down that street. Something told me don't stay in that place. Number one, he speaks through what? Number two, he speaks through his what? Number three, he speaks through his servants. When men and women of God are preaching, God is speaking. When men and women of God are teaching, God is speaking. When men and women of God are singing or ministering, God is speaking. You ever been in church here and I was preaching, I was teaching, and you felt God speaking to you? How many of y'all that's happened to? That's happened to. That's happened to you. Those Jews never happened to. Why you still come? You mean you've been here all this time and God ain't said nothing through me for you? Number one, he speaks through who? Number two, he speaks through? Number three, he speaks through? Number four, he speaks through your situations. Now you got to catch this one right here. You got to catch this one right here. Because here's when God's speaking through your situation. Sometimes God will have you go through something and he'll say this, can you hear me now? You just lost another job. Can you hear me now? You got locked up again. Can you hear me now? Revelation. Revelation. The musician started playing, and Elijah said, here's what God said. Now watch number two. Look at what he said. This is exertion. He says, make this valley full of ditches. Hey, Steve, he said, make this valley full of ditches. Now let's see who's been paying attention. Where are they? Where are they? And what was the three things you said about the desert? It's hot, it's dry, and it's remote. And God says, dig ditches. Now what do they need? What do they need? Water. And most times when we need something from God, we just want him to provide it. Don't be asking me to dig. But this text teaches us that God says sometime I ain't gonna do it till you get some skin in the game. I'm not just gonna always deliver you. I'm not just gonna always make a way. I'm just not gonna always make it happen. I need to see you do something, because many times if you don't do nothing, you don't appreciate what I've done because you got lazy and you depended on me and you wouldn't do nothing yourself. Preach, Pastor. And clearly I hear God saying this year. I will not do what you can do, but I will do what you can't do. But why should I do what you can't do and you won't even do what you can do? Boy, y'all missed that. Y'all missed that. Y'all missed that. Just today, God didn't do nothing that you can do. All right, you don't believe me? Let me prove it to you. God did not brush your teeth this morning. You did. God did not bathe you today. You did. God did not pick out what you were going to wear today. You did. God did not seat you today. You did. Because those are all the things that you can do. But what God did was he woke you up today. And why did God wake you up? Because that's something that you cannot do. But if you do what you can do, watch him do. He says, dig ditches. So maybe what I should be preaching is, can you dig it? Can you dig it when you're broke? Can you dig it when you're lonely? Can you dig it when you're scared? Can you dig it when you don't know what to do? Look down and tell somebody, can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Dig ditches. Dig ditches. And watch this, Miss Edna. He did not tell them how many ditches to dig. Are y'all paying attention while I'm preaching? What did he say? Make this valley. But he didn't tell them, Deacon Richie, how many. And why didn't God tell them how many? Because God says, I want you to control your blessings. And I want you to determine how much I bless you. If you dig one, I'll fill up one. If you dig two, I'll fill up two. If you dig three, I'll fill up three. But if you make this thing full, And somebody on the left of you couldn't have been there. Come on, look on the left of you and tell a person you couldn't have been there. You could have been there. Because the person on the left of you would have said, I just got my nails done. Tell the person on the right, I don't know why you laughing, because you couldn't have been there either. Because you've been like, I just got my hair done. I just got my hair done. That's why it bothers me when people won't worship and shout and praise God on Sunday because they got their hair done on Saturday. If your hair keep you from praising God, you need to get it done Sunday after church. Look at somebody's hair and say, sweat it out for God. Shucks, it ain't yours anyway. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry. I said I was going to do better this year. Dig. Watch this. Did this make sense? Come on, help me. Did this make sense? Did it make sense for them to dig in order to get water? No, it don't make sense. And God is saying this year, I'm going to ask you to do some stuff that don't make sense. Come on, somebody slap you, turn the other cheek. That don't make sense. You slap me, I turn your cheek. That's what makes Go the extra mile. That don't make sense. Exertion. And then let me show you anticipation. Am I helping anybody today? Let me show you anticipation. Put up the next verse. I don't even know where I am. Put up Look at for thus saith the Lord. Now remember, whenever it says for thus saith the Lord, that means God's getting ready to speak. For thus saith the Lord. Look what he says. You ain't going to see wind. You ain't going to see rain. Yet that valley is going to be filled with water. Man, y'all. Come on, help your boy get out of here. Let the church say, who that? Come on. Come on. Look what God says. What I'm about to do, you won't see it. You got to catch this. You got to catch it. You receiving it? God says what I'm about to do, it don't look like I'm going to do it. What I'm about to do, people don't think you're going to come out of it. People don't think you're going to get a house. People don't think you're going to raise that child as a single parent. People don't think you're going to retire at 55. People don't think you're going to get to 6 figures. People don't think you're going to get back into a 36, 24, 36. What a winning hand. You know what he's saying? You know what he's saying? What I'm about to do is not in the forecast. Fred, anybody ever been outside one day and it started raining and you said, I didn't know it was going to rain today? God says what I'm about to do, you're going to look back and say, I didn't know today was my day of deliverance. I didn't know today I was going to meet my Boaz. I didn't know today I was going to retire. I did not know. He says, what I'm about to do, you'll never hear Al Roker say, and here's what's happening in your neck of the woods. He says, you're not going to see wind. You're not going to see rain. Yet what? You know what he's saying? Anticipate it. Come on, preach to somebody. Tell them anticipate it. Anticipate y'all gonna get along better. Anticipate you gonna get a hookup tonight. Anticipate. For the married people, anticipate. Because I see too many single people like, all right, hallelujah, I receive that. No. You keep digging. Where all the married people, wave your hand. You shout, anticipate. Anticipate somebody gonna cook today. All right, come on, let's close this. Put up verse 18. No, do 19. Do 9. No, 18. 18. Go back to 18. Quit playing. Go back to 18. Look at what God says. I'm leaving right here. God says, and this is a light thing. Kerwin B. Lee, were you preaching here today? God says it's a light thing. You know what God is saying? What I'm about to do for you, it ain't hard. What I'm about to do for you, it ain't nothing I ain't done before. I done dealt with somebody broke before. I done dealt with somebody unemployed before. I done dealt with somebody angry before. I done dealt with somebody in prison before. He said it's light. And will you quit calling heavy what God has called light? Your situation is not a heavy situation. It's a light situation. It may be heavy for you, but it's light for God. So God said, get your hands off and get your hands up and watch me show out. Come on, preach down your road. Tell them, get your hands off of it. Get your hands off of it. Put your hands up. Last time you put your hands on it, you about choked him to death. Get your hands up. Some of y'all gonna have an argument this week. Get your hands up. As soon as they start slipping, get your hands up. See, when they go down, I'm reaching for my peace. No, get your hands. He says it's a light thing. And I'm going to deliver you. Now put up 20. Now put up 20 and let's close here. And it came to pass in the morning when the meat offering was offered, water came from everywhere. And how much water came? It filled what? What did it fill, Trina? What did it fill? It filled the country. All they had to do was dig a ditch, but he filled the whole country. God said, I'm going to bless everybody connected to you this year. I'm going to bless your cousin. I'm going to bless your grandparents. I'm going to bless your friends. I'm going to bless your haters. I'm going to bless your job. I'm going to bless your co-worker. All you got to do is dig. He says, and it came to pass in the morning, in the morning, in the morning, in the morning. I said I wasn't going to hoop today, but if I decided to hoop today, I would hoop right here. He may not come when you want him. Weeping may endure it for a night, but the miracle is coming in the morning. The breakthrough is coming in the... And look at when it happened, y'all. Look at when it happened. When the meat offering was offered. Look when God delivered after offering time. Look when God brought the water. God brought the water when some of them looked at that OBCM. And when they made their pledge and put it on the altar, water. Let me ask you this and I'm done. Could God have done it all by himself? Y'all over there that's a little late to the party. Could God have done this thing all by himself? Did he really need them to dig ditches to do it? He could have done it all by himself. Because God works best when you work with him. When you work with him. One of my favorite stories, Deacon Bill, is the farmer who had a blind horse named Blue. A farmer, and Melissa, he's got a blind horse named Blue. But Blue is strong as an ox, but he's blind. And every day the farmer would walk Blue from the country to the highway in the city looking for cars that were stuck in a ditch. And he would always get Blue, because Blue's strong, to pull the car out. One day they walking and they see this car stuck in the ditch. And the farmer said, would you like for my blind horse Blue to pull your car out? The man says, yes. The farmer hooks Blue up to the car. And when he hooks Blue up to the car, the farmer says this, pull Blake, pull Blake, pull Bill, pull Bill. Pull Bob, pull Bob, pull Blue, pull Blue. And Blue pulls the car out. The man who owns the car, he blown away. He said, what you say that horse name is again? He said, Blue. And you say he blind, right? Yeah. He said, well, why would you say pull Blake, pull Bill, pull Bob, then pull Blue? He said, you got to know a little something about Blue. Blue works better when he thinks other people are working with him. And when he called those other names, what do Blue think? What do Blue think? I got help. And you need to know when you dig, God sees that he ain't got to do it all by himself. Would you stand across the sanctuary? And before we go, will you just show a little drama and show somebody how you going to dig the rest of this year? Show them how you going to dig. Come on. Tell them dig, dig. Dig, dig. Some of y'all saying pull Blue. No, this ain't Blue no more. This ain't Blue no more. Ask somebody next to you, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Now tell them, dig, Samantha, dig. Dig, Faye McQuisha, dig. Dig, Pookie, dig. Dig, Ray, dig. And we're my people who know that this year is going to be the best year of your life. Walk around and find some people and tell them you're going to thrive in 2025. Tell them you're going to thrive in 2025. Tell them you're going to thrive. Tell them you're going to tell them Happy New Year. Give them a hug. Tell them Happy New Year. But you're going to thrive in 2025. It's going to be your year. Tell them dig, though. Dig, dig, dig. Dig when it hurts. Dig when you don't understand. Dig when they talking about you. Dig, dig. Dig when the Falcons win. Dig when the Falcons lose. Dig. Dig. And guess who? Come on, singers. Guess who will help you dig? Christ. Christ. Somebody here for this first Sunday of the year, you need Christ. I'm getting ready to go. But I don't want to leave without somebody making a commitment for Christ. He will help you dig. God is speaking to somebody right now saying, I got you, I got you, I got you, but you got to do something. You just can't wait on me. You just can't wait on, we got to do this thing together. I can do it all by myself, but you appreciate it more when you do work with Christ. But then some of you need a church. I want to be your pastor. I want to be your pastor. I really do. I really do. I preach hard when you don't even say amen because I want to be your pastor. I come prepared. I come ready because I want you to be a part of this church. But then I want you to make that change, make that change, make that change. You said you was going to do it in 2024, but you didn't do it. Now it's a new year. Guess what I'm going to preach next Sunday? A new year, but the same you. You got to make some changes. And if you feel today that the Lord is calling you to join this church, if you feel like God is calling you to accept Christ, to make change and be held accountable, I want to pray. And after I pray, I want you to walk up front and make that commitment. Walk up front. The devil is saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But remember, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus says, I've come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. Father, thank you now for everybody under the sound of my voice, in person and virtually. Now, the person that needs Christ, the person that needs a church home, the person that needs change, I pray when this prayer is over, God, you'll have them take that step. They want to do it. They thinking about doing it. They've been praying about it. You've already confirmed that this is the time to do it. Now, God, in the words of Nike, have them just do it. So thank you for the people that you're going to save, the people you're going to deliver, the people you're going to give a church home. Father, have your way and move by your power. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, turn and ask somebody, can I walk up there with you today? Can I walk up there with you today? Come on.